My pregnant cousin begged me for help and I laughed in her face. When my parents lost their jobs, we had to move in with my aunt and uncle. They're insanely rich with like 5 guest rooms. Their house has 4 floors and my cousin Maddie has her own bathroom and walk-in closet. Maddie was the golden child of the family, the one who got straight A's, played varsity tennis, volunteered at church. Everyone talked about her like she was a saint. When I transferred to her school, she told me she'd introduce me to everyone and I wouldn't have to worry about being the new girl. I was relieved. But Maddie at home and Maddie at school were 2 completely different people. The first week she offered to show me around. By the second week she was ignoring me and pretending she barely knew me. She'd laugh with her friends while I walked past looking for somewhere to sit. When I did make a friend in chemistry class, Maddie pulled her aside and told her I had lice in middle school. The girl never talked to me again. At home, Maddie would take my phone charger and say she forgot. She'd talk about weekend plans in front of me that I wasn't invited to, knowing I had none. Her parents adored her. My parents told me to keep the peace and be grateful we had somewhere to stay. So I stayed quiet and watched Maddie play the perfect daughter while treating me like I was nothing. Things changed when I met Henry. He was a new student too. He transferred a month after me, so he didn't know anyone either. We met at lunch when we both ended up at the empty table in the back corner. He made a joke about us being the reject table and I laughed. That's how it started. We became inseparable. He didn't care about Maddie or her friends or any of the social hierarchy. He just cared about me. When he asked me to be his girlfriend, it felt like things were finally turning around. But Maddie absolutely hated it. Apparently she had been trying to get Henry's attention since the day he arrived. She thought he was insanely cute. She'd invited him to parties, DM him on Instagram, did everything she usually does to pull guys into her orbit, but Henry never bit. And then he chose me, her invisible charity case cousin. Then 2 days later, the rumor started. Maddie told people she found a pregnancy test in my bag, positive. She said she wasn't trying to start drama, but she was genuinely concerned. She made herself look like the caring cousin while destroying me. It spread like wildfire. People stared at me in the hallway. Conversation stopped when I walked by. Someone asked me when I was due. Teachers gave me sad, pitying looks. Henry would tell people it wasn't true, but I could tell it bothered him. Nobody cared. The rumor was too good, but then it got worse. Someone made a group chat called Baby Watch and added half the grade. People would run up to me and rub my stomach in the hallway and laugh when I flinched. Girls I'd never spoken to told me I should be ashamed of myself. Someone taped a pacifier to my locker. Someone slipped a pregnancy pamphlet into my backpack and I found it in the middle of class. Everyone saw and laughed. Then Henry started getting distant. His friends gave him a hard time. He started walking a little further away from me in the hallways. Stopped texting me at night. One day I went to sit with him at lunch and he said he needed space to figure things out. I stopped eating in the cafeteria. I spent my free periods in the bathroom. And Maddie? She didn't even acknowledge what she'd done. At home, she just smiled at me across the dinner table like nothing happened. I got pulled out of third period and when I walked into the counselor's office, my parents were already there waiting for me. My mom grabbed my hand and my dad asked me point blank if I was pregnant. I reached into my bag and pulled out the paper I'd been holding onto for days. Doctor's visit, blood test, negative. My mom started crying out of relief and my dad asked who made the whole thing up. The counselor said they'd already gotten reports from multiple students and every single one of them gave the same name, Maddie. When they confronted her, she panicked and tried to say she was just repeating what she heard, but people had receipts, texts, voice messages, everything. She started it, she spread it, and she made sure everyone